Gentlemen, welcome to Fight Club. The first rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about Fight Club. Second rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about Fight Club. Third rule of Fight Club, someone yells stop, goes limp, taps out, fight is over. Fourth rule, only two guys to a fight. Fifth rule, one fight at a time, fellas. Sixth rule, no shirts, no shoes. Seventh rule, fights will go on as long as they have to. And the eighth and final rule, if this is your first night at Fight Club, you have to fight club.
What's going on, guys and gals, and welcome to Real Hunting. We're out for the good reels, so you don't have to. It's your boy Brad, the Brett Man's right over here. We're doing not a slash it out, a Fight Club, our very first episode of Fight Club here tonight. And we have a special guest moderator here with us, RJ, aka BaconPewPew, right underneath us, man. How's it going tonight?
What's up, buddy? I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Awesome, man. Of course, we're excited to have you, man. He's a big Spider-Man fan, so we figured it would be a good time to bring him on. Obviously, Brett's been on his channel before, but it's the first time he's been over here, so we're really excited about it. Our man Chris, he's going to be out for a little bit. He's got some things going on he's got to deal with, so we're going to do the best we can without him, but we're here, obviously. So if you guys are here and you're new to the channel, what we're going to be doing tonight is a nice old school debate, man. And if you've seen our Slash It Out episodes before, it's going to be very similar to that, but it's going to be, non-horror movies is what the Fight Club is kind of focused on. And tonight we're going to be starting things off with Spider-Man Homecoming versus Spider-Man Far From Home. Of course, we got Spider-Bird over here. He's a big fan. Here in just a second, we're going to flip a coin. Hello, Spider-Bird.
Oh, yeah. What's going on? Brett Man here. Just got to show off my Spider mask. Just wanted to say welcome to the first episode of Fight Club. And if you're listening on podcast, we appreciate you listening as we debate on two great Tom Holland Spider-Man flicks. And Brad, you want me to go through the standings real quick? Because I do got some standings generated.
Yes. Go right ahead and go do that.
All right. Just a little quick standing alert. Our Slash It Out standing. Yours truly, the Brett Man, 2-0 on the 2-game win streak, while Brad and Chris sit at the 1-2 mark, with Chris on a 1-game streak, and Brad has no streak. And we'll combine Slash It Out and Fight Outs together too. So pretty much the overall record is still the same at the moment. And we'll keep this updated and we'll let you all know what the standings look like within each episode of Fight Club and Slash It Out.
Yes, absolutely. While you're at it, go ahead and pull up the rule page real quick, because I was going to go ahead and kind of show you how the show's going to go on tonight.
So kind of explain to our listeners as well.
Absolutely. Again, if you haven't heard, the rules before for Slash It Out, these are very similar. Of course, we added some rules here at the beginning of Fight Club. The first and second rules of Fight Club here is talk about the Fight Club. That's what we want you to do, guys and gals. Tell your friends, share it, like it, whatever you want to do. Let them know about the Fight Club. We're going to have a lot of fun here. But getting into the specific rules of the battle here tonight, so we're here in a second. We're gonna flip a coin toss. We're gonna flip a coin. The winner of said coin toss is going to select which of these movies they're going to defend, and then our man down here, BaconPewPew, is going to moderate things. He's going to throw some questions and things like that. We're going to answer those, and we're going to debate it out like we would any other night. And what's cool about this is you guys are going to be voting to determine who wins this thing. So that's going to be really cool. We'll put a poll out on YouTube, Brett? Is that what we're going to do, the official poll, or
Yeah,
Instagram?
we will do YouTube and Facebook. I feel like those are the two most popular places to vote and all that.
Okay, yeah, we're still kind of testing out to see which has the best response, but eventually we're going to have one poll, one official poll. But I think just keep voting wherever you can. We're going to see where has the best response. You guys are going to determine the winner, and the winner of this tonight's match will obviously choose and moderate the next matchup. Ideally, again, we don't have Chris at the moment, so we're still going to kind of float these probably guest moderators out for a little bit, or rely on the chat or whatever we can do. And as always, of course, the moderator here can fact check all he wants, but we are going to have the moderator stay neutral in the fight itself. And other than that, no rules, man. Take your shirts off, have a good time, and party.
Yes, sir. And that sounds like a good time, especially the taking off the shirt part. No, actually, that's one rule. Do not do that. But let's see here. And right before we even get started, I want to address the comic session here. We get back to the top here. We got Kyle from Fleet Live. What's going on, man? We got King Nigor. What's going on? No Way Home is going to be fire. I have the spoilers. If you will do us a favor,
No
please,
spoilers.
please, no spoilers, because we are so close to it. So I will be watching the chat. I'll sacrifice as tribute. So please do not do spoilers. And yeah, even Bacon's like, please do not do spoilers. So
Yes.
that is all I see from the chat currently. And before we get down to the nitty gritty, I do got a new, more modified version of our Tell the Tape. And I'm going to go ahead and show it right here. So a little new. And yeah, so fellas, what is something that just catches your eye when you're looking at these numbers?
They're very close. I mean,
Yeah.
they're very close. Actually, I'm surprised that I didn't look at these. I figured Far From Home would have better numbers on the scores from Rotten Tomatoes, but I'm incorrect. Everything else is very similar though.
Bacon?
Yeah, they're almost exactly identical, even up to the release date, which is kind of crazy. The IMDb scores are right at the same. Rotten Tomatoes, even they're very close, which is real rare because we all know how Rotten Tomatoes is. But yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
I guess the
That's
audience-
probably the most different a little bit with the
Yeah.
Michael Keaton and Robert Downey Jr. and then Jake Gyllenhaal and Samuel Jackson. But other than that, they're twins.
Yeah, and just the box, and just like these box office numbers of like just the Spider-Man Homecoming of 334 million to Far From Home's 391. That is pretty damn close. I think when we include like the worldwide, that is where like Far From Home really takes the cake with $1.13 billion, and that is super impressive because only a handful of Marvel movies, like standalone Marvel movies, had done that, and Spider-Man is one of them, and just again well deserved for Far From Home. So I really do hope I win the coin toss. So
I got a question for you, man.
Oh, what's that?
What do you think Dr. Evil would be more excited about, the 880 on the Spider-Man Homecoming side, or the 1.3 billion over on Far From Home?
Well, why make billions and millions? We can make thousands. No, I'm just messing. But guys, those are our Tale of the Tapes. Let me get one more chat real quick, and it's freaking Chad going, God damn, some bullshit. So,
I think it's pronounced boosh.
Oh yeah, bullshit.
Bullshit.
So that is great. So Brad, if you want to freaking toss the coin, we'll get freaking started.
I'll flip it, man. Bacon, if you have a coin, you can flip it as the moderator if you would like to.
I do have a coin.
Cool, look at that. That way Brett can't come back and tell me that I was cheating again, because he likes to do that.
I do.
All right, boys, heads or tails?
Brad, since you're on the losing streak, I'll let you decide.
Heads.
All right. It landed on tails.
Dang, man. It's a double down, man.
Yeah, so go ahead and give me that Spider-Man Far From Home.
All right.
Damn.
So Brad, good luck. Not only are you at a disadvantage of me being a spider nerd, but now I got what is easily, presumably, the better movie of the two. So best of luck trying to explain your case.
It's the only reason you're on that win streak is because you keep winning these damn coin tosses.
Hey, they matter, man. Everything matters when it comes to these victories. So I'm going to go ahead and shut up. Bacon, you are now officially in charge. So take it away, my friend.
All right, Mr. Brett, man. Why don't you start off by explaining this? Why do you like Far From Home more?
Why do I like Far From Home more? Just because I like the kind of like them like taking out the setting of stepping away from New York. Like they even haven't even gone to New York really within these two movies yet. Hopefully, No Way Home will do that. But just to go to a different setting, like to London, like just so far away. And just to explore and just the cinematography shots of all the nice places and all that is great. We get the Peter Parker and MJ dynamic, their relationship like blossoming and taking another step into their character developments. We got an even more badass villain of Mysterio that people have been begging to be on the big screen. And of course, you got freaking Samuel Jackson as Nick Fury. So I can keep going on and on, but those are the major things of why I like this movie better than Homecoming.
All right. What about you, Brad? Why is Homecoming better than Far From Home?
One thing I really like about it is it feels very small in scale. It feels like a very much isolated incident that things because at this time in the MCU, you know, obviously everything was kind of hitting the fan or starting to hit the fan in the Ultimate Universe. This was after Civil War and stuff like that. So things were kind of rolling at this point. But even with all that stuff going on, this does a good job of feeling kind of smaller scale. But on the other side of that is we do have Tony Stark in this movie, kind of being a little bit of a father figure, I guess, for Spider-Man, for Peter, which I kind of like that relationship they build up. It, especially when you see where it all goes later in the MCU. I think this is a good start for that, and you really kind of starting to see Tony kind of get a soft spot for Peter here, and really just want to take him under his wing and teach him how to do things the right way, and also keep him safe. And I like that. And the arc starting at this point, kind of moving forward, I think it's great. It's fantastic. So I really like that. I like the way they handle it here. It's not overdone, I don't think. It's just in there enough where you get a little bit of Tony here and there. You get to see Peter fail a couple times with, you know, the fairy scene and things like that, and Tony kind of pulls him back a little bit and gives him some motivation one way or another. So I really do like that. I like that quite a bit. And Michael Keaton's also freaking fantastic in this thing as well.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, and it's like we pulled the stats. Even both movies are very similar in a way, right? Because you come where you have Homecoming, it comes off the events of Civil War, and then Far From Home comes off the events of Endgame. So they're both, you know, in a way, they're both, what's the word I'm looking, aftermath movies in a way. You know, you have him coming back, trying to, you know, he's wanting to be more than Spider-Man in the, you know, in Homecoming after Civil War. You know, he's wanting that Avenger mission again and stuff like where in Far From Home, he's not wanting that. He doesn't even want to really be Spider-Man in a way. He wants to just be Peter Parker. And, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, if I can like reapellate on that with the kind of like your statement with Far From Home, that he just wants to be Peter Parker. Yeah, he does want to be Peter Parker, but he also doesn't want to be like taking over the role of Iron Man. That a lot of people are putting like that kind of peer pressure on Tom Holland and Peter Parker, who's only just a kid, and they expect him to be like Iron Man and lead the Avengers and all that. And that is just so much to ask of a 16-year-old. Well, technically, probably a 21-year-old because he got blipped, which I hate that damn word. Blip is the snap. It will always be the snap for me. I don't care what the movie says. It's not called the blip. So, so you got to take that into consideration as well. So it's just like another step of Peter Parker's character.
Right. Red Rusty says, I love them both. However, I despise the new Spider-Man's friends. All of them. I want his Scooby Gang dead. Other than that, I love the movies.
Oh, yeah, the damn kids. So
we have Jay Manny says, my son just told me Far From Home is better Fachi's here. Fachi Cinema. He says these movies are both for me. Guess prefer Homecoming.
Take it, my
okay.
man. I will
Okay.
take it.
All right. All right.
Keep
Well,
that momentum rolling, Matt, man.
no. Well, I guess it goes into the next question is, which, because in a way, I mean, when you look at Homecoming, right, and then you look at Far From Home, in a way, they're kind of two different Peters in a way as well, where you have this excited Peter in Homecoming where he's just now learning Spider-Man in a way. He's only been Spider-Man for a couple months. Far From Home, he's been Spider-Man for a little while. He's fought with the Avengers, in a way, like, which portrayal of Peter do you guys like more?
Oh, I went first, so Bray, you go ahead.
Okay. I mean, I really like the way in Homecoming he's really kind of it's almost he's learning more and more about himself. He's learning more about how to be. He's really excited, like you mentioned. I do like that aspect where he's just happy to be a part of this freaking storyline with the Avengers, and he's getting, he's doing selfies with his camera, and he's like, "Hey, I'm Thor." Yeah, all this stuff, like all that stuff's great because you can tell he's got energy. He's pumped. He's excited to be there, man.
Yeah.
And all he's trying to do is get through high school and get himself a girl. At this point, and you get those questions of, "Oh, should I tell her I'm Spider-Man?" Because she's got a crush on Spider-Man. All that stuff's great. He just seems a little bit more innocent in this movie, and he's still trying to do the good things. Trying to do the right thing, I should say. He hasn't had all the the battles and the experiences that he's had by the time Far From Home comes around. So it's kind of nice just to kind of see him earlier in his career trying to learn things and trying to do things on his own because he's not getting the support from Tony and from Happy
Right.
and those other guys. So I kind of like that. And I really like the sequence there when he goes to the homecoming dance with his lady friend there. And you get that great moment in the car with Michael Keaton, where he's like, "Hey, you should quit messing with my work or I'm going to kill your ass," kind of deal. And he doesn't back down from that. That was a great moment in the car. Then they go in and, easy decision would be for him to just go ahead and be like, "You know what? Peace out. I'm going to have a good time here today."
Yeah.
But he's like, "No, I'm going to leave you here to dance by yourself and I'm going to go kick some ass and it's going to be your dad's ass." So I kind of like that aspect of it. And I thought he was great.
All right. Man.
Where to even begin? Your movie, Brad, Homecoming, he is learning to become Spider-Man and all that. But this time around, he's learning to become more than just Spider-Man. Because he's got to actually now learn what side of the coin he has to choose. Because he mainly wants to be Peter Parker at the beginning of the movie. Because again, he doesn't want to accept that responsibility, and that's just the main word of Peter Parker throughout the entire Far From Home. And I know it's cliche in the whole Spider-Man world, but great power comes great responsibility. I know they don't use that line, but pretty much you can figure it out and incorporate it within this. And that just cannot be just any more true with Far From Home. Because he is avoiding those responsibilities just because he's still a kid and he knows he has to grow up way more quickly than he has to, especially when there's no more Iron Man and Tony Stark. And then, like, middle of the movie, you could easily see he's trying to juggle both, and he just realizes he just can't do that. And by the end of the movie, that he just is like, okay, I got responsibilities now. I know people are looking up to me and rely on me and depend on me. So I gotta be Spider-Man. And I don't have to be Iron Man. I have to be Spider-Man. And then he just goes in and saves the day. And it's just so much fun to see that Peter Parker just take another step of not only towards being a superhero, but just more towards adulthood. So yeah, man, easily Far From Home has the better Peter Parker story arc.
I tell you what, though, I tell you what I dislike about Peter Parker over in Far From Home territory is he's an idiot, dude. He gives these new glasses off to his boy Mysterio, even though he's just met him a few days ago. Like he's not wise.
Man.
He's not very smart. Like he knows he knows these glasses or I mean he almost killed his boy with a freaking rocket, man, on accident. So he knows how powerful these things are. Yeah, he's going to give them up to somebody just at a drop of a hat. And I just don't like that aspect. That's going a little bit too far in the extreme territory of not wanting any responsibility at this point, because he should know that Tony Stark wouldn't want to give these glasses to some random ass person. You know, yeah, he just fought the fire dude, but he's like, you know how freaking how strict I guess Tony is at this point. Like he fought off freaking Captain America earlier in the franchise here. So some random dude getting glasses, yeah, obviously that's not what Tony would want. And also he's doing these little celebrity meetings at the beginning of the movie with Aunt May, and he's like dressing up and doing all this crazy. Like, yeah, I just don't like all that stuff, man. Let's just go ahead and get it back to the old friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, the wise guy from New York.
Well, to defend what you said, Brad, about it's stupid or it's just really dumb of Peter to give up the glasses. You gotta just put yourself in that situation of you being a 16-year-old. All you want to do is just be a kid and just getting all this responsibility handed down to you. You don't make the best decisions when you're 16 years old, especially if you're a damn Avenger at age 16, which, in my opinion, that is way too young to be an Avenger, to accept any kind of responsibilities like that. And he didn't know who freaking Quentin Beck was during that time. He didn't know he was all mysterious and mine and all that. So he just knows who he just is pretending to be. He didn't know he was lying because, again, he's still learning about his spider sense. I refuse to call it Peter Tingle because I have a major freaking hate for that term. But the spider sense, he hasn't developed that yet, so he couldn't sense what was going wrong and all that. So I actually do not blame Peter Parker in my movie for giving over those glasses so easily.
Well, let's think about it, though. I mean, let's just think about it for just a second, okay? Let's just think about the fact that he's grown into this relationship with Tony Stark. Tony Stark was an arrogant. He had a bit of an ego. He didn't trust anybody except for maybe Peter. He trusted Peter, and that was about it in his career. Maybe Bruce Banner, but you just know that if Peter really were to get these glasses after Tony died like that, he would be proud to do so, I think, with the way he acted in Homecoming. I think that's something he would take a lot of pride in. Now, he may not actually use it. Maybe he puts them away for a few years, finishes colleges, and then he's like, okay, now I got the glasses again. But if he were to give them to somebody, I think he would at least go through the proper protocol. He would talk with Happy. He would talk with Samuel L. Jackson, Nick Fury, and he would make the best decision possible. I don't think on a whim, he just in a bar somewhere drinking, some after battle booze that he would just, give them away.
He was drinking lemonade.
Yeah, well, yeah, but the other guy was drinking booze. So, he got a whiff of that. Yes, exactly. But I just don't get it. I don't see it. I don't see it happening realistically. I mean, you just came off this in-game battle, and you're just, I think at this point, you got to play your cards close to the chest, seeing how crazy things can get out there.
I want to bring up a point with that too, is where it's like Brad said with the Iron Man almost being a father figure in a way to Peter in a way. In Far From Home, we're coming right off Endgame. Tony, he's still dealing with Tony Stark's death and stuff like that. So I feel like in a way he's kind of looking for that, that father figure, and that might be why he gives the glasses up so quickly. Because he seems like Mysterio is the. He's a good guy, but like you said, I mean, those scenes they're kind of similar characters in a way. Like they both played the same part in a way, and then you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, absolutely, and and plus Mysterio, he is not just no ordinary trickster. It's freaking Mysterio, one of the most conniving characters, and not only the Spider world, but also in the Marvel world as well.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he's definitely tricky. I'm just, I think a lot of this could have been avoided had Peter just, thought things through a little bit.
Fluffy says, as a chubby Asian man, I respectfully disagree, Red Rusty.
Yeah, you can't mess with them, man.
So I'll bring into another question I'll mention for you guys. We have two big villains in both these movies. I'm assuming, Brad, you like, the Vulture more, and, Brett, you like Mysterio more, but let's go into why,
Oh
Yeah.
man, why? Why is Mysterio better than the Vulture? Yeah, I understand that we're going through a tough battle against the Keats. Everybody loves Michael Keats, so like Snyder calls him the Keats, so I'm just going to call him the Keats. So Chris Snyder, there you go. There's your shout out. But freaking Jake Gyllenhaal, just did such a great job, and I was worried at first about Jake Gyllenhaal if he could actually deliver on the Quentin Beck and Mysterio character. And I thought he was just being all too nice. But then when that reveal happened where Quentin Beck was just like tricking Peter and like, we did it, and just a whole celebration. My gosh, Jake Gyllenhaal did a complete 180 and like just really bought into his character. You could tell that he was so into his character, and to me, that just speaks very high volumes. And I know the Keats did that, but just like Jake Gyllenhaal just brought a whole different feel and energy.
Yeah.
Like he was like completely bought in, and he just like nailed this particular role. It's like he was even made for this role. So, and plus just seeing all the special effects of Mysterio too, with like the illusions and all that. I know they had a little bit of a bigger budget, but damn, did it look so damn good. And the outfit of Mysterio was just absolutely spot on. So, like, dang gummit, Mysterio to me way better than the Vulture. I'm still gonna give Vulture his props. The Keats did a great job exploring the personality of that character, and he did look pretty cool. But it's just he's not on the same level as Jake Gyllenhaal as Quentin Beck, aka Mysterio.
Let's get out of town here for a minute, Bert. I want you to go ahead and just get in your car, and I want you to leave town and not come back because let's just talk a little bit here about the Vulture here with Michael Keaton. Man, he was fantastic. You kidding me? And what makes this character so much better than Mysterio is the motive. You know, a good villain always requires a good motive, and I thought Jake's was a little weak. I thought that the Mysterio's motive was weak. I thought the reveal actually of him being a bad guy Mysterio was quite silly, to be honest with you. I thought, like, I was digging his character, I guess, to an extent. He never really felt real to me, though, at any point in that movie. And then the reveal happens, and it's like it felt so forced, and it felt, like just very, very heavy with exposition and just explaining to the audience of how we got to this point. It goes so far to throw these little flashbacks out there with Tony Stark and this other random ass dude that was in Iron Man. At the beginning, he's not that random, I guess, but still at the end of the day, it felt just forced and shoehorned at this point. But I like the approach of Homecoming because it's more personal. It's a little bit more obviously smaller scale. He's not out here doing all this. He's just trying to make some money for his family. He's just trying to provide for his family at the end of the day, and he says that multiple times in the movie. He's a hardworking dude. At the beginning of the movie, he's cleaning up the mess after the Avengers movie. Obviously New York's in shambles and he's cleaning things up, and he gets kind of screwed over by the government. At this point he's like, no, I'm going to go ahead and do what I have to do to provide for my family. And I love that aspect about him. But it's also just the fact that he doesn't really seem that much of like a bad guy. He just seems like he's fallen into these temptations and these this world that he's living in now as a villain, I guess, that he's kind of turned over to the dark side, so to speak, almost like,
Right.
hey, he's freaking Darth Vader over here. It's not necessarily something he wanted to do, but something he kind of felt like he was forced to do. And you can buy that because he's redeemed at the end. Whenever, in the post-credit scene after Peter saves his life and whatever, and then the dude in the prison's like, hey, let's go kill him. I heard you know who it is. And he's like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. He gets that nice redemption period there. And that kind of you can see that happening throughout the whole movie. He doesn't necessarily want to hurt Peter. He gets mad every time Peter intervenes. And he's like, damn it, man, now I'm really going to have to hurt this kid. And he doesn't necessarily want to. He just feels like he has to. And like I mentioned earlier, that car scene with him and Peter at going to the homecoming dance was absolutely awesome. That's one of my favorite character moments in the two movies combined. I thought it was great.
Right.
Yeah, and just wanted to tell you this about how the Keats doesn't want to hurt Peter Parker and all that, like, because he's a good kid and all that. But Quentin Beck, he didn't want to hurt Peter either. He didn't have no beef with Peter Parker. Yeah, of course, he just like used him to get what he wanted, but he never really wanted to hurt him because, especially, he told his little lackey when one of the drum parts is missing and all that. He went, when I have to kill Peter Parker, the blood would be on your hands. Because, again, he did not want to. He just had a issue with Tony Stark. He wanted the fame, but not at one time he wanted to hurt Peter unless if he really had to.
I mean, he
Right.
did kind of fuck with him quite a bit, though, with that dream sequence, dude. He was throwing cranes at
Well,
him
he
and
was
shit.
just
There was
he was just scared.
Tony-
Like he was scaring him. He didn't really
Tony
want to
Stark
kill
came out of
him,
a
though.
grave and chased him down. Like, it was pretty intense. And then, like, at the end, he did kind of fuck him over forever. Like, he never got that redemption period, that redemption that we could have gotten out of him that Michael Keaton got in the post-credit scene. Like, they kind of thought that maybe he redeemed himself, and they had this little conversation with Peter, but then he was just trying to trick Peter and shoot him. So he never really got that. And then at the end in that post-credit scene, he totally fucked his ass.
Yeah, and then but Michael Keaton pulled a gun on Peter.
That was just
So
a threatening
get the hell
thing.
out of
Yeah,
here.
he didn't actually intend on shooting him that night. He was actually trying to save Peter at that point. He said, "Hey, you're good. Go hang out with my daughter. I'm going to go back to work. Quit fucking around, and we're fine. No, I'll water under the bridge at this point."
That's freaking what Quentin Beck was trying to do, though. He's
He
just trying to tell Peter, like, hey, leave me alone. You're a good kid, but just you need to back off.
At the end, he totally tricked his ass. You thought he was about to get this big redemption thing, and he was projecting himself over there. He had a gun out. He's about to pop our boy Peter. I think the gun even went off, did it not? I think he literally tried to kill him.
Well, because he had no choice at that point.
We got some more people in the chat. We got our buddies over at the Dark Eater Files podcast. They say, hello there.
Hello.
We have Chris Snyder. He says, hey, guys. He says, the Keats reveal as Liz's dad is perfect. The Mysterio reveal is too cartoony.
I agree. I agree entirely.
And King says,
it's... Oh, go ahead.
Brett.
No, you go ahead, sir.
King says, I like Mysterio's motivation naturally. An enemy of Stark would have had a pretty plan of attack. What he sets up in No Way Home, though, it makes everything better.
Yeah, he definitely, freaking without Mysterio, we wouldn't have all this damn excitement for No Way Home, especially with that mid-credit scene at the end of Far From Home. Dan gum. That's all I gotta say.
Chris says, Mysterio is angry, showing a temper tantrum because he's pissed at Tony. Vulture just wants to provide for his family. They nailed Mysterio overall, but Vulture is better written character.
I agree. You know what Mysterio reminds me of? He reminds me of a more intense version of that dude from Mandalorian from Tony Stark 3, Iron Man 3. He just gets pissed off at Tony, and then he gets his big plan to freaking take him down. It's the same storyline. We've seen it before. But granted, we've seen you're the father of my friend storyline before too. But I think it works just as well here as always. I mean, I think it's great with this aspect of it. I think it feels a little bit more. I think it works great here.
Okay, and you look at that with the Iron Man movies too. Is almost all three of that trilogy, it's people wanting to take his technology. You had the first one. The second one with Whiplash, and then the third one with Mandalorian. Caleb says, Brett, your package I did for you is on the way. It's Spider-Man related. Oh, I think Brettman froze up.
Oh, yes. That happens. So while he's gone, let me just tell you how bad No Way Home. I'm just kidding. Or Far From Home is. No, I won't do that to him. He'll be back momentarily.
He always comes back. But yeah, I mean, when you look at the whole villain aspect of it, Mysterio in a way has that same motivation as the other three villains from Iron Man 1, 2, and 3,
Yes. Yeah, I think so. For sure. It really is very similar to both of those that we've seen. Really, though, specifically, just it feels almost like that moment when the Mandalorian dude, I forgot his actual name in Iron Man 3, at the beginning of the movie when he's dressed up like the Riddler from Batman Forever.
Yeah.
And they have that little conference at the beginning, and he gets left out on the roof, and he's just like sitting there. He's all pissed off. That's the same kind of feel I get from Mysterio here.
Yeah.
And I think, honestly, you could have put that dude in a flashback, and they could have been friends back in the day, and I think it would have made a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's almost I'm trying really hard to stay neutral, but with Mysterio, it's almost like you can almost take his character out and put him in an Iron Man movie, and it would be a good Iron Man villain as well, It
would be.
But
it would be.
Yeah.
And I think what's cool about Vulture is it feels more isolated to New York, and it feels like something that people like they mentioned multiple times. It's not even on the radar of anybody
Yeah.
at this point what they're doing. And Spider-Man's really the only one kind of figuring things out. And I think that's really cool. The Avengers have no interest in him. Like it's a very small scale kind of under the radar operation he's running there.
Yeah. There's a similar scene in Far From Home with Homecoming, and it goes back to the thing you're talking about with Keith in the back of the car, and he's telling Peter, there's the scene where, Mysterio's offering, hey, we need your help. And Peter's telling him, no, it's kind of, I don't want to help. I'm on my vacation, So, I mean, there's a lot of similarities from both the movies. Caleb says, I find Vulture and Homecoming as better developed and relatable, better developed and relatable character more than Mysterio. And then Wolfman says, about to finish my Spider-Man marathon with Far From Home, so this is perfect.
Excellent, Wolfman. Glad to hear it, man. It's a good time to marathon in those movies, for sure.
Yeah, man. Got the big one this weekend, man.
Oh, yeah, man. I'm excited about it. We're all pumped.
Yeah, the big boy.
One other thing that is kind of cool is that I guess it could be said both ways for both movies. Is Spider-Man is he's kind of trying to figure out he's almost battling himself in both of these movies too. He's trying to figure out who he is and what he wants to do, and that's what's cool about the Spider-Man character in general in all the movies in the franchise, because he's such a younger superhero than everybody else. Like he's trying to figure out a bunch of shit at once. And just the main bad guy is just one of the many variables that he has to face. In Spider-Man 2 with Tobey Mac, we get college and him flunking out almost, and Mary Jane and her plays and all that, and you see that all the way throughout. Pretty much every movie, there's at least something that reminds you that he's just a kid trying to figure everything out.
Yeah, and I agree with you, because all the movies, even the new one coming up from the trailers and stuff, they've got that whole Peter's always having trouble balancing his life and being Spider-Man at the same time. With Homecoming, he is having trouble with Liz, and he's back.
Yeah. So apologize for that. Too bad the podcast side of things will not get any of that. So I'm back. Gotta love technology sometimes. So hopefully Brad wasn't getting any bonus points while I was gone.
Yeah, actually, we all voted while you were gone, and I won. So it was a good time. We had a really good time.
I'm sure it was. So
we also had one guy come in talking about spoilers, and we had to snap him out.
We did have to blip him right out of there, dude.
Yeah, that a boy.
No, but
His name was Jeff.
Yep. we were actually answering the chat. Let's see. I don't remember where you cut out, Brett. What's the last thing you remember?
I think we were done with the whole better villain.
Okay. Yeah, so King says, I like Mysterio's motivation naturally as an enemy of Stark. We have a pretty plan of attack. What he set up in No Way Home, it makes everything better. And then Mysterio is angry. Chris says Mysterio is angry and showing a temper tantrum because he's pissed at Tony. Vulture just wants to provide for his family. They nailed Mysterio overall, but the Vulture is a better written character.
I concur.
Yep. Then Caleb says, I find the Vulture in Homecoming as a better developed and more relatable character more than Mysterio. And then Chris says, it's weird. I will watch Far From Home more than Homecoming, but Peter's arc with himself is done better in Homecoming, and the villain is better than Homecoming. But I find Far From Home to be more fun to rewatch.
That's fair.
Very fair.
Okay. Let me ask you guys a question. And this involves the suits. We because in Homecoming, obviously we have the suit that Tony, makes him, for Civil War. Then we have his classic suit where he made it himself. But then you go from Far From Home, you have the black on red where he makes his own suit. And you have Happy looking at him like, you might be Tony Stark. And then you have the stealth suit. Why do you guys like those suits better?
Brad, it was your go.
Yeah, that's one thing in these two movies that I really actually haven't liked too much of is the suits. I really much prefer all the suits that came before. Obviously, the Tobey Mac era is my favorite suits, and then I actually prefer the Amazing Spider-Man movies over these suits too. But it is what it is. There's some fun technology to be had in these, at least. So it makes for some good moments, especially in Homecoming, when he's kind of figuring out about all these this it's a smart suit essentially. I mean, come on, it's 2021. He's got freaking all these little features in there, similar to Iron Man's suit. Of course, he's got the interrogation mode. That was hella fun. Instant kill, all that stuff he's trying to figure out. He has no idea what he's doing with any of it, but it makes for good comedy. I think that's some of the best comedy in both of these movies, is him trying to talk and figure out what the hell's going on with this suit and all these different web modes he has, and the freaking taser web and the rapid fire web, and all that stuff is great. So I think, I really have a lot of fun with that in Homecoming. I actually like the suit he wears probably in Homecoming the most. I don't really like the one that I can't remember exactly when he's wearing it, when he's not, but the one he's wearing most of the time in Homecoming I like more than the one in Far From Home at the beginning, in particular, and then the monkey suit. What's his name? The
Spider
Stealth
Monkey.
or
Spider Monkey. No, it's not Spider Monkey. That's from Twilight. It's
No, I'm just
Stealth
messing with
Monkey,
you.
ain't it?
It's
Or-
the
it's
Night Monkey.
Night Monkey.
yeah.
That suit was kind of cool. I like that. And what I do like about Far From Home is the time in the scene with Mysterio where he's getting his mind fucked with a little bit. It's kind of subtle, but you can see obviously like his suit changes. Once he kind of gets into the virtual world there. I guess he's wearing the Night Monkey suit, and then he gets sucked into this, and he's wearing his regular suit. And I like that moment a lot. But overall, I like the Homecoming suits a lot more, I think. And it's just seeing his classic one that he made, like the homemade suit that he made for a little bit in the movie too, that he's got hidden under the lockers. That was a lot of fun and kind of a nice callback to, obviously the original Spider-Man movie, and just the character, the origins overall, where he's got his own little homemade suit.
I'm gonna go into the chat real quick before you go, Brett. Chris says, he says Far From Home suit easily, and then he says, I'm not a big fan of any of the Holland suits, but if I had to pick any suit from those, it would be the red and black suit, definitely not the Iron Spider suit, LOL. And then Chris says, actually scratch that, Homecoming homemade suit.
Yes.
Then he says Night Monkey, and then Brandon the Beldum says Peter Tingle.
Oh my gosh, I hate the damn Peter Tingle with a passion. There's not, like, that's the only thing I cannot defend about this movie is the Peter Tingle.
The Peter Tingle.
Oh my gosh. Let's get back to something better for the Peter Tingle, and that is freaking the suits from Far From Home. Because we get not only the Iron Spidey suit, which I prefer more of the old classic look of the Iron Spider suit, of like the whole red and gold. I'm not really the biggest fan of this. I was when it first came out, but I'm a Spider-Man fan. I always freak out and say it's the best ever when it first comes out. Then when time flows, I kind of rethink about it. I'm like, well, maybe this could be a little bit better, but it's still awesome to always see the Iron Spidey suit. But then we get the friggin' Night Monkey. Which I thought that was cool, kind of like a spy looking Spider-Man suit with the whole black and all that. And it's not having any technology except for his web shooters. So it really shows a more truer Spider-Man, because for a truer Spider-Man, he doesn't do technology. Yeah. Kind of like with the whole, like the laser taser, the instant kill, or the interrogation mode. He always just relies on his smarts right here in his noggin, and just his old classic web shooters. That's it. But for the overall, like the main suit they display in this movie towards the end, I think it's really cool because Tom Holland and Peter Parker, he made it himself. Yeah. Tony Stark didn't make it at all. It was all Peter Parker that did it, so he got what he wanted. And I think the suit kind of actually looks a little bit clearer and all that. I wish it could be brighter. I'll admit, like, it could be brighter, but the darker tone, like, they're just trying to go in a whole different direction. I still think it looks kind of nice, though. So I would say my suits are just, I would say, a tad bit better. Not like the whole, like, oh, by 100 miles or 100 times and all that, like I've been doing throughout this entire episode. But I will admit, like, this one's a really bit tough, a close race, because I do like what Homecoming was trying to achieve, but I just barely give it to Far From Home.
Yeah, I think we can all agree that, the suits are pretty even in these movies, just because, for the main reason, they all do the same thing. The only big difference between these suits, besides the Iron Spider and Night Monkey, they're the most different, is really their color patterns. You know, you have the blue on
Mhm.
red, and then you have the black on red, and that's really about it. Homecoming's got Spider Buddy, you know, and then
Yes.
and then you have the gliders on the Far From Home suits. You know, so I mean, I would give it a draw between the suits, me personally.
Yeah, and like Brad said, I'm actually more of a the Tobey Maguire spider suits, really.
Mhm.
But my overall favorite one is the Amazing Spider-Man 2 with Andrew Garfield. That is my all-time favorite suit.
It's a good
I
suit.
yeah, it is. It feels more comic accurate, right? Like with
Yeah,
the eyes
exactly.
and
Like that
stuff.
whole movie was just all comic book accurate.
Yeah.
I tell you what I don't like is the suit in the second one when he's like, he's out there. I mean, it's the iron suit essentially, but it's the one like where it's got the nanobots, or I don't even know what the fuck it is when its fucking mask just kind of comes on or whatever his helmet. I don't even know
That's
what
the
it would
Iron
be called.
Spidey suit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely cannot. I despise all that stuff going on. You can't have a suit tighten a crotch if it's doing all that stuff, and I think that's absolutely essential for any kind of Spider-Man. You got to have that.
Yeah,
And
I
yeah.
made it. Tight around the crotch area, though.
I remember that. Taking the elevator up.
Just
Nice Spidey
standing
suit, man.
Thanks, I made it myself.
Brandon says, I'm not a fan of the nanotech spider suit. How the mask dissolves and reappears, it just
Exactly.
looks too powerful. Looks like a Power Ranger is what he says. Chris says, I don't like all the tech and all the suits, but Homecoming's design is better. Plus, the homemade suit is great. And then Chris says, Toby's suit is great, but Andrew's suit is ASMS. You guys know what that means?
The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Okay. Is my favorite suit. And then Brandon says Garfield's suit does look the best. Okay.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And I mean, the suits wise, I mean, really there's one for everyone, right? Like you can really go upon it and like every one of them, you know? But
Mhm.
I think with the nano stuff, you have to look at it because Iron Man's in this universe. And so there's the Stark technology, you know? So I think
Mhm.
that's you kind of have to give it like that limp, you know? you
Yeah,
know.
exactly.
Yeah. But that's my thoughts over it all. But yeah.
Hell yeah. So, you got any other questions left for us?
Let me think. Okay.
And everybody in the chat too, if you got a question, Bacon will love to pick your question if y'all want to develop a question in there.
Yeah, definitely. Send them in. I guess let's talk about the the friends, right? The friends in these movies. You know, you have Ned and MJ. Um, they to me at least they feel different from, especially Ned. They feel like different characters in the movies. But let's hear you guys' thoughts on the portrayals of Ned and MJ between the movies.
Okay. As I thank God you just only mentioned those two characters because I cannot even defend the other ones because that's one of the marks I have for my movie Far From Home with those side character kids. Very awful. So I'm glad you at least mentioned those two. Ned took a little bit of a back seat on this one, but I'm actually okay with him taking the back seat with this one because this ain't his movie. His movie
Right.
was Homecoming. When he was learning everything out. This is the total MJ show, and I know a lot of people, especially Chris, just call her Mary Jane Watson. It's just instead of MJ, but it's just again, it's an alternate universe, so they're trying to do something different. It doesn't bother me of Zendaya just being MJ versus just
Yeah.
Mary Jane. So that's not even her name in this is Michelle. I don't know what the J stands for, but I'm just going to just assume it's Jillian. Which, Jean's not too bad either. But think MJ just took like such a huge step from what she was in Homecoming,
Right.
and I even made a joke about how in Homecoming MJ kind of looked like a hobo, pretty much just like all like dirty and I wouldn't say nasty looking, but just didn't look like the best. But I think in this one, she just took a major leap because people are respecting her now, look up to her, and even Peter, who's just massively falling in love with this girl.
Yeah.
And she just looks like $1,000,000 and Daya does in this movie. And she freaking nails the comedy aspect of MJ's personality. Her and Tom's dynamic chemistry is even better in this one than the last one for Homecoming. And just dang, Yeah, absolutely. Just MJ is so much better, and I'm again glad Ned took a backseat. He was okay in Homecoming. He wasn't the best. They just didn't give him a good story. Like they just, I'll be honest with you. Like if you took out Ned in my movie, nobody would even miss him.
Right.
I actually like Ned quite a bit in No Way Home or Far From Home. All these home freaking movies, I can't stand it. But either way,
We're
I
going
like him.
somewhere.
Yes, he is. But I think, yeah, obviously Ned is he's much more involved in Homecoming. I think he has a lot of good times in there. You know, when they're making the Death Star and things like that. I really like those moments. Just the friendship. You know, again, it's simple here. It's not crazy. We're not going overseas. We're not going on these crazy vacations. And there's not, you know, he doesn't have a girlfriend and all this other stuff going on. Like it's a more simple friendship in this first movie. It's kind of getting blossomed and things like that. And it makes for a lot of great moments, like when he finds out that Peter is Spider-Man. You know, he's crawling in. Like that sequence was amazing, by the way, where he crawls in the window. Freaking Aunt Jane or Aunt May's. I don't know who Jane is, but you know, obviously, I think she's a friend of Mary. But anyway, he comes crawling in on the ceiling, and Aunt May's in the air. He's all secret and closes the door. You think he succeeded, and then the camera pans over, and Ed's just sitting there, and he drops the Death Star. I thought that was great. That was amazing, and it just kind of builds on that friendship that they had in that movie. I thought that was good. I think it's good for Peter to kind of have that best friend figure, and I thought he did a really good job.
The guy in the chair.
The guy in the chair. Yeah, exactly. He comes in. He gets his little arc later in the movie with the chair. Yep. When he's in the high school during Homecoming, and he's doing all this stuff behind the scenes, and teacher busts in. She's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And she doesn't talk like that. I don't know where that, but and he's like, "I'm just watching porn." Yeah, he's great. He has his own. He actually really lands with some of this side comedy stuff going on. He does a great job. Obviously, I don't think their friendship or anybody's friendship in these movies competes with the James Franco obviously friendship with Toby Mac. That's kind of on an island of its own. But I think that, you know, it's good. It's solid. It's a nice friendship. It's something that we don't see a lot of in the MCU, is just to kind of have those kind of normal sidekick characters, I guess. And I think they do a good job with it here. And I thought Mary Jane was great. Obviously, she was just kind of getting set up in Homecoming because they had other plans for her later on down the line. She didn't have a whole lot to do, but when she's on the scene, I think on the screen, she steals the scene. And she does that multiple times at the debate or the whatever it was they were doing. And multiple times.
And I'll even be at the Homecoming dance where she sees Peter, she going, "Hey," and flips him off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, "Hey, what are you doing at this lame ass party?" And then she's in detention. She's like, "Hey, you don't have detention." The dude's like, he's like, "Hey, I know, I just like to come hang out." Like all those things. It's great. She's fantastic in the movie.
Yeah, and I'll even admit, freaking Ned, just the whole like the watching the porn thing. Like, if my best bro don't do that, like I don't want to be best bros with him. So like,
exactly, dude.
I'll admit, like Ned was so much better in Homecoming than Far From Home. But again, in my circumstance and in my particular movie, it's not about Ned. It's more about MJ, Michelle.
Yeah, and
you
shot
that dude with the web too.
And it's like you guys said. I mean, they both have different parts in both movies, right? Where in Brad Homecoming, you know, we're introducing these characters. You know, we have to get to know them. You know, and then in Far From Home, we're past that. You know, where we've had Endgame. This is Parker. This is Peter Parker's movie now. So on you know, yeah. Chris says, "Go ahead, Brad."
Well, I was gonna say that's another thing in Far From Home. Really. Yeah, Mary Jane or MJ gets she gets more to do in the movie, but really, I feel like Tony. There's too many names. Peter is. I feel like Peter is kind of more closely involved with like Nick Fury in this movie and all that other stuff, and I kind of think all the friends kind of take a seat on the back there with all that, and they're just kind of there to be kept safe, you know, for the most part. Aside from MJ, she's got a little bit more involved in it, but still, even then, I think Nick Fury is really the friend of the movie, and so is Happy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, you guys can correct me on this, but Nick Fury wasn't even really Nick Fury in this movie, was he? He was one of the
Talos.
Yeah, from Guardians of the Galaxy. So
from the Skrulls from Captain Marvel.
That's right.
Okay,
that's right. At the very end of the credits, right?
Yeah, that's the second end credits scene. And which that was a pretty big. That was a big deal too. But which I'm not sure if you're going to go into that question. But so I'll just stop it from there. But I can mention it later. But
All right. Chris says, I don't know how I feel about Electra's new arc reactor or Ock's new nanobots on the tentacles and No Way Home yet. What are your guys' thoughts on it so far?
okay, let's see here.
One
Oh
right
wait,
above
did I even pull up the right question?
It's the
Oh,
one
here
right
it is.
above- yeah.
There we go. So, let me see here. The nanobots on the tentacles. That could be very interesting, just because Doc Ock is also a scientist, so he could probably figure, and he's more older and mature than Peter Parker is, so he probably can figure it out just as quickly as Peter ever could, and maybe even better than Tony Stark, because that would be an interesting battle between who is a better scientist between Tony and Dr. Octavius, because I would say Tony Stark is the better technologist, but a scientist and like is Doc Ock, which just I know those are two different fields, but I feel like Doc Ock can easily be adaptable to the nanobot technology, and I think it's actually going to really work in this new movie of No Way Home.
In short, I don't know much about it. I haven't really looked much into it. I saw the trailer once or twice. I tried not to, because I kind of want to go in and get a little bit surprised here.
Yeah.
So I haven't looked at much beyond the trailer, but I'm okay with them trying new things. But overall, when they've introduced new technologies in these two Spider-Man movies, I haven't been a huge fan of it. So we'll see. I'm open to it though. We'll ask me again next week, and I'll let you know.
All right. Chris also says, I did not like MJ in Homecoming at all. I loved her in Far From Home. Great character development on her for sure. So MJ wins in Far From Home for me easily. Brandon says, MJ looked like Laurie Strode in Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
Dude, she does like she's like dirty for some reason and all
Grungy.
that. Yeah, exactly. Kind of like an outcast, because she acted like an outcast. So
Chris also says, Homecoming is Ned's time to shine. For Far From Home is MJ's time to shine. Maybe Flash will finally shine in No Way Home. LOL.
fuck no. Screw Flash. Like
I'll
I
tell ya.
cannot stand the Flash character in both of these movies.
That's probably one thing that I do. Actually, I kind of like this MJ more than I do the Kirsten Dunst version, I think. So that's one thing where I think there's actually been a little bit of improvement from that trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's like you were saying a while ago, Brettman, when people were complaining how they didn't say Mary Jane Watson. When you say that name, I picture Kristen Dunst.
Yes.
Like is MJ. When you say MJ, you can kind of picture just Zendaya, but
yeah,
Mary
exactly.
Watson that's professional.
Yeah, well, that's just that's just Spider-Man lore. It's just it's Mary Jane Watson. It's nothing more, nothing less, and that's why people have such a cowl over just MJ. But no, exactly, Becky. You just really nailed it. Of why probably the writers and the creators of these particular Spider-Man. For Tom Holland, they were trying to actually accomplish to distinguish between those Mary Janes.
Yeah.
Well, not Mary Janes, but the MJs. So, there's all kinds of M and J's and Marys and all that out there. So, but then gum. But yeah, I think it really works. I honestly do not have an issue with it whatsoever.
Jonathan says, I'm seeing No Way Home at 1:00. Sweet, man.
Hell yes.
Dude, that's awesome, man. So I hope you have a really great time. I'm seeing at 7:40 tomorrow. So I will pretty much be in the dark for most of the day tomorrow.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and real quickly, and Bacon, before you go to your next question, guys, please be careful with like the internet and all that. A lot of people I know already, and Snyder is one of them, unfortunately, getting spoiled already. So be careful. And if you do know something, please don't spoil it. Like, just please don't spoil it, because like people really want to have fun, and it's not fun when you get spoiled on it.
Yeah, and here I'll take this as an example for everyone who's got that in their head, like, hey, I'm going to spoil. Look back at Endgame when we were wondering who was going to die. Take that into perspective, like with this movie. Don't be that guy. Because if you're that guy, people will not like you anymore.
Yeah, I was like, don't be that guy. Shame.
One of us. But for my next question, both these movies, they have two very different final acts. I guess I want to ask you guys, why do you guys like, with Brad, why do you like Homecoming's final act with Vulture more than you like Mysterio's final act? And then same question for you, but opposite.
And right
Right, man.
before Brad starts his answering, are we including the mid-credit and end-credit scenes?
You know what, we
Okay, I'm going to say no, and
let's
just
make that
out of
let's
respect.
make that a whole nother question.
Okay,
Yeah.
sounds good. Brad, so you go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So I think again, it just kind of goes back to the scale here, and again, this is kind of more of a smaller scale story over here, and Spider-Man's just trying to stop a heist of, obviously very valuable merchandise that could be very dangerous in the wrong hands and things like that. But at the end of the day, he's stopping a heist of Stark's materials there from, moving it up north. And so I like that. Again, it just allows us to kind of focus more on the character of Spider-Man as opposed to some big elaborate cinematic duel going on in the middle of London with water and Mysterio flying around and all kinds of other crazy stuff. So I really like that aspect. You really get to kind of learn a little bit more about him as a character and who he is, and that he's going to stand up to and do what he thinks is right, and just kind of that one-on-one battle there, and ends up just earning the respect of everybody by doing it. At the end of the day, he gets the respect of Tony, he gets the respect of Happy and all that stuff when he stops this thing midair. And obviously visually it was cool when he's going up and freaking, hopping on a damn plane and all that stuff while it's moving and crashing and all this other cool stuff. It's visually cool. It's nice. And at the end of the day, despite all that, despite being trying to kill, despite this dude over here trying to freaking crush his ass with a parking structure, Vulture, he tried to crush his ass with a parking structure, which that moment was cool too, when he gets up out of the rubble there and he's like, oh man, I'm freaking badass. Come on, Spider-Man, let's do this. That's when he kind of really wakes up and becomes his own beast at that point, which I like that. Despite that though, he ends up saving Vulture's ass at the end of this thing. Which I think is again, it goes back to how his character operates, and I thought that was good. That was solid.
Oh man, and I'll proudly admit that when you talk about the parking garage structure and him, like, come on, Spider-Man. One of my top Spider-Man moments of all the franchise, of all the movies combined together. So like one of my top 5 ones. It gives me chill bumps every time, like just thinking about that particular scene. But so respect to that. Far From Home. Talk about like cool looking like features and cinematography. The whole damn London with Peter and Mysterio fighting a Avenger level threat. Finally, he's not a small scale. This is a whole bigger scale, a whole bigger movie. So it's just you get so many awesome badass Spidey shots with him like swinging and like contorting his body, looking like a damn spider. So like you can tell Tom Holland put in a lot of work trying to nail the details of Spider-Man's movements, and they showed off in such a big way. And another big thing they nailed too is the I hate the fucking Peter tingle, but when it finally does it, like he finally masters that the Spidey sense and that whole scene within that bridge. Oh, dude, that was so awesome! Like experiencing that, and then defeating Mysterio. Like, so Mysterio has no chance of ever beating Spider-Man ever again. And then we finally get the conclusion between MJ and Peter Parker too, and their relationship when they kiss for the first time and all that, and it just finally became boyfriend and girlfriend. That was such a great moment as well. Like even like after I watched it in theaters, I went home and watched that particular scene like 5 times. Like I just absolutely loved that scene. And then just saying everything else up and getting that last shot of him swinging through New York finally. And it's just that looks great as well. So I feel like probably Brad's has more of a storytelling aspect of why the third act is better. But mine, like when it comes to the shots and the actual lore of Spider-Man, easily my movie.
They're both very emotional too. Like both ending scenes where they're fighting, like they're like you can tell like he's not an adult, he's a kid, and And you can see that in both of these with the parking garage where he's being crushed and he's got to find the power. You can see it with Mysterio, how he's finally overcame the tricks and stuff like that. You know, and I think that's what a lot of people forget is like with Tom Holland's Spider-Man, it's not Toby Maguire, Andrew, he's a kid. He's still in high school, and he's been in high school this whole time, even through Endgame and all that, he's a kid. And to be like only what do you say, like 18, 17, 18, 16?
Yeah, well,
kid's been through a
including
lot.
the blip, including the blip, he might be like even 23. Like, damn. But,
Whoosh.
but
Yeah. But
yeah.
yeah, cool deal. Now as far as your guys' post-credit scenes go for your guys' movies, where you guys stand with that?
Brad, let me go ahead and just take the cake on this one, if you don't mind. I'm surely there's no way you can defend what's getting ready to happen here, my friend. Mid-credit scene for Far From Home, probably one of the biggest shockers of not only of all the mid-credit scenes, like the best mid-credit scenes of all the MCU, but just probably one of the most shocking moments out of the entire MCU in general. Because first off, we get the swinging effect where MJ actually does not like to swing. And so I thought that was pretty funny and all that. She said, yeah, never again. And then we get the whole like Quentin Beck making Spider-Man the bad guy. And we're like, oh shit, where can they go with this? Like this is where we get started where people actually hate Spider-Man. And then what could be better than that? Parker! Joe Jonah Jameson, J.K. Simmons freaking pops up on the screen, and dadgummit, he steals it right there too. And I'm like, well, damn, how are they going to even achieve higher like than that? And that's when Quentin Beck going, Peter Parker. And like, holy crap, like I lost my mind in theaters. Like, oh shit, where are they going to go with this with the next Spider-Man movie? And that's thus we get No Way Home just because of that mid-credit sitting alone. And then the very last credit scene where from the Skrulls and Talos and all that, that opens up like Marvel, the MCU into space and going to the space aspect of where Nick Fury is and Captain Marvel for Captain Marvel 2. So that was a big thing as well.
Hell yeah.
Yes. I just, on my end, obviously it's a little bit more simple. Obviously, I didn't mention this before when we talked about that on the last question, but I like the way this movie kind of kicks off the credits with Aunt May finding out that he's Spider-Man. It's such a you would think that'd be such a big moment in the movie, where Aunt May finds out about Peter being Spider-Man, but it gets kind of pushed off to right here to kick off the credits, where he's just kind of changing in his room. He comes in, does some stuff, and then obviously it's kind of the same reveal as earlier with Ned. You don't really know, but she's kind of standing there and she's like, oh, what the fuck? And then it cuts in. They do the same thing in the next movie too. It's kind of a
kind of like when Peter did go, what the?
Yeah. Same thing. So I thought that was great. That was a nice comedic way to end things. And then when it gets to the point in the mid credit scene with Vulture, Michael Keaton, that again, that's the redemption. I've talked about it a couple times leading up to this point. It goes back to who he is as a person, kind of letting you know that he's not really a bad dude. He just kind of got caught up in some shit, and at this point, he's going to go ahead and instead of going on down that line of being a villain, he's going to protect Peter and not reveal his name to these truly bad guys in the prison there. So I like that, and obviously it's a good redemption for him being a father to his his daughter there as well, and everything that comes with that. Was there another one in there? I can't remember.
It was the Captain America lesson about patience, and I'll admit that's so damn good.
Yeah,
I was disappointed at first.
It's a good joke. Yeah, I like that. Obviously nothing really big there as far as the story goes, but it's a nice way to just kind of end things off with some good comedy at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like it was. I easily have that as one of my favorite end credit scenes, just because of how much they were messing with us, and of all the people to do it is another Captain America video, which that I always appreciate the Captain America videos in Homecoming. But yeah, that was damn strong too.
They're hilarious. Like, so you got sent to detention.
You messed up.
Yeah.
What are you going to do about it?
Is this the last one?
So that was all for my questions. But with the whole Aunt May finding out about Spider-Man, I do wish they would have extended it more. and we would have seen more of that. But overall, I mean, they're in a way like where Far From Home sets up like this huge. It kind of sets up the whole next phase, right? Like this, like that movie right there has so much. Like you have to rely on that movie for a lot, you know. Where Homecoming's post credit scene, you're just setting up the next couple movies, maybe. So I feel like it's in my head. I mean, it's trying to judge two post credit scenes that are doing two completely different things, you know. So, but overall, both great credit scene, post credit scenes.
Yeah, and even Brad's dog Kylo agreed.
Yes, he does.
Yeah. But so Bacon, do you have any other questions for us?
That is it for me, guys. That is all my questions.
All right. Well, damn, Bacon. Great job moderating. Very awesome job. And I love Homecoming too. This is the part where we'll just talk about our overall thoughts about both movies. But Homecoming, yeah, I really did like that movie. As Brad said, perfectly said it. Like I never even thought about it before. For it being smaller scale.
Yeah.
So, and I do appreciate the movie, actually Homecoming, more because of that word Brad throw out there. I never even begin to think about it that way before.
Yeah.
But I just Far From Home. I just absolutely love it. It's great. Like if we could get rid of the damn kids and all that, it probably could have been a 5 out of 5. Like the kids that don't matter, mainly. Like freaking Brad. Like I was like, fuck Brad. Like not my Brad, but like yeah, no, like not you, but the character Brad. He was such a dick. Like nobody liked him. And I'm not talking about like just the stupid shit he did. I just didn't like his face. Like he just had a face he just wanted to punch.
I feel like this is coming from somewhere else. I feel like
yeah,
this is coming from this is coming with a hatred for the name Brad, I think.
Yeah, I guess
all
so.
the rage.
So yeah, screw Brad. But no, at the end of the day, both of these Tom Holland movies are freaking excellent, and they are such great build-ups to No Way Home. I feel like it'll just be the final conclusion to this particular trilogy, and I am so looking forward to it.
Well, not only that, they confirmed another trilogy. Like
yeah,
3 more Spider-Man movies.
Which I was kind of like, why did you announce that? Wait for the movie to come out, then announce that.
Yeah.
They get ahead of themselves sometimes.
Oh yeah, but they're just as excited as we are, folks. So I kind of give them cut them a little slack, but
yeah, they're just riding the Spider-Man train all the way out because I think they should have revealed the Across the Spider-Verse trailer in the movie theater with like but it is what it is.
Agreed.
I agree with you, Brad. Movies get ahead of themselves. Halloween, sorry.
I tell you, I agree with something Chris Snyder said a minute ago. Is that I think Homecoming has better character moments, kind of more, probably better writing overall, and stuff. But I think No Way Home is just a little bit more rewatchable and a little bit more fun for me, I think. So I do prefer No Way Home myself. Far From Home, damn it, what the hell? I prefer Far From Home myself as well. At the end of the day, but I do actually think the character development, everything like that is done really well in Homecoming.
Yeah, I can agree with that. And now that the debate's over, yes, I can agree with you guys. Like with the character build, I feel like Homecoming had the big job of introducing us to these characters, and I think they did a really good job of doing it. They didn't make these characters like super boring. They're a lot more modern. They feel like they're part of this decade. Where you look at Tobey Maguire's movies, love those movies to death. The second one's my favorite of all time. But you have the Mary Jane Watson there who's just a gloomy character,
Oh, dude. Yeah.
And then you have Andrew Garfield with Emma Stone, which is, yeah, Mr.
Epic.
Take Your Girlfriend Spider-Man. But, yeah, me personally, I prefer Homecoming over Far From Home. But I enjoy them both just as much, though.
Yeah, and unfortunately, as moderator, you cannot vote on the particular poll we'll post tomorrow. So I do apologize for that.
No, you're fine.
For the future ones, you can absolutely vote. So, Brad, do you once again want to explain how our listeners and watchers who are currently watching right now, how they can vote and make a difference on who wins the first episode of Fight Club?
Yes. So what you'll do is we're going to put a poll up on both YouTube and on Facebook in our group Good Real Hunting. So check that out. We'll put the post up. Vote on who you think had the best argument, not necessarily what your favorite movie is of the two, but who made the best argument here tonight. That's the best way to get the win-loss columns sorted out the right way, because everything's kind of based off of a coin toss. So check that out. We'll post it up tomorrow. And after
Yes,
everybody
around
gets
noon.
around noon, after everybody gets a chance to listen to this or watch it, whatever you guys are doing. And after the poll runs for about a day or so, we'll call a winner. And ideally the next person's going to pick the next matchup, though we do kind of have one in mind already, which we'll reveal at a later time. But that's going to be kind of how it works.
Yeah, and since if you're listening to this, it's going to be the podcast episode is going to be dropped the very next day after this live stream. So what I'm going to do for these polls, I'm going to just make it 2 days instead of the 1 day. So it gives the listeners of the podcast plenty of time to be sure their votes count as well.
Nice.
Yeah, so the reveal, this is Wednesday, poll will be released Thursday, Friday. So we should get a winner by Saturday at around noon.
Sounds like a plan, Stan.
Just in time for No Way Home.
Yeah, just in time, baby. So, Bacon, thank you so much for being a special guest moderator to our channel, and welcome to Good Real Hunting, being your first time on here. So, if you want to quickly state for your channel of where they can find you, and also what you got coming up, and I do got your descriptions in the description below.
All right, so. Guys, if you guys don't know who I am, my name is BaconPewPew. You guys can find me on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, everywhere at BaconPewPew. As far as what's coming up, right after this, I have a watch along with Spooky Clutter from the Dark Aether Files podcast. We're watching American Psycho. This Sunday, I have an interview with Peter Anthony about his Roseblood movie. Monday, we have spoiler discussion for No Way Home over on House of the Living Dead. We have Spider Stream 3 Tuesday. And then we're continuing the Rambo review series over on the channel. So that's about all I have.
That's awesome. You're doing the Rambo series. Me and Brad did that series with the J-Man. That's our collaboration earlier this year. And they're such a damn good time.
Oh, dude, I'm having so much fun going back. And I'm on 3. I'm on Rambo 3.
So good old Rambo 3.
It's going to probably come out sometime. To be completely honest, it's probably going to come out next week, the review. But as far as what's coming up, that's what I got coming up.
Awesome. So while Brad's getting that sip of that high quality H2O, let me tell you what's coming up on Good Real Hunting. For me personally, on Saturday, I'm going to be doing a double watch party feature with Chris Snyder over at the House of the Living Dead. That's where you can find us. We'll be watching the original 1974 Black Christmas. Chris is picking out the movie, so I am not going to pull out the 2019 copy, so we're good there. It is the 1974 copy. And right after that, we'll take a small intermission, and then we'll watch It's Me, Billy, the Black Christmas fan film with the directors of Dave McCrae and Bruce Dale, which they did a phenomenal job. It's my personal favorite fan film of all time. It's fantastic. And we'll watch both of those movies this Saturday. And then next Monday, we're going to be starting our Scream review series. And this is where we'll be reviewing each of the Scream movies leading up to Scream 5. And then we got some other little ideas like videos that we're going to release that involve Scream as well. So our series will start on December the 20th when we release the review of Scream. And then we also got a Home Alone, A Fairy Dairy Christmas. And this is the next chapter of Pennywise and Georgie on their adventures. This is the Christmas episode. So I have no idea who those two strangers are and what is in store for poor little old Georgie. So be sure to, I would say around Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, or somewhere around the Christmas time area of next week is when that video is going to drop. But we will keep you updated on that. And lastly, for our partnership of Good Real Hunting with Chris Snyder and Braden Timmons, baby, for the Justice League, which is we're going to be doing the Infinity Saga, which is a watch party series where we watch all of the Infinity Saga movies, so Marvel Phases 1 through 3, and that will start on January the 7th at 8 o'clock over on the House of the Living Dead, as we will be watching Iron Man. And Brad, there's one other thing we're also going to be doing too, if you want to explain that while I try to get some oxygen.
Yes. What is it?
Monday.
Okay, Monday. Yes, Monday night. It's the plan around probably 7 o'clock. We're going to be doing the next chapter of Home Alone. Obviously, Bert, first time watched the first original Home Alone this past Sunday night. We're going to be doing that same thing, but with Home Alone 2 on Monday. Again, that's going to be Bert's first time watch of that movie. And we're really excited about it. So we will post that, put that room together and get that open as soon as we can. And you guys will have to join us for that one because it's going to be a great time in New York.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you want to continue having good times with us for Good Will Hunting and for Bacon Pew Pew over on his channel, be sure to like our video, share and subscribe to our channels, and of course ring those notification bells, ding ding ding, so you all know when all of our videos are up and ready.
Right.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah,
And if you want to find a good reels, you can find us at Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Letterboxd, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Those links are down below, as well as Brett said earlier, Bacon Pew Pew's links as well are down below.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're listening on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, we appreciate you listening in, and we will love to have you a part of our live streams chats. Or if you still want to listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, that is great too. We just want to make sure we just give everybody all the resources and opportunities to listen to, or just to enjoy our channel as well.
Yes.
So, guys, with that is the conclusion to episode 1 of the Fight Club. Bacon, thank you again so much for being our special guest moderator, and we will see you for the next one.
Go,
Peace.
Web, go!